The readings for Wednesday, October 2nd. The epistle reading comes from St. Paul's letter to the Colossians, chapter 1, verses 18 through 23. And he is the head of the body, the church, who is the beginning, the firstborn from the dead, that in all things he may have the preeminence. For it pleased the Father that in him all the fullness should dwell, and by him to reconcile all things to himself. By him, whether things on earth or things in heaven, having made peace through the blood of his cross. And you, who once were alienated and enemies in your mind by wicked works, yet now he has reconciled in the body of his flesh through death, to present you holy and blameless, and above reproach in his sight. If indeed you continue in the faith, grounded and steadfast, and are not moved away from the hope of the gospel which you heard, which was preached to every creature under heaven, of which I, Paul, became a minister. All right, got some footnotes from the Orthodox Study Bible. So for verse 18, the head and the body are one and the same in nature. In this case, the body comes from, submits to, and continues to exist in the head. So the one nature is the glorified humanity of Christ. As Christ has supreme and life-giving authority, the firstborn, over the original creation, where life is temporary, so he has supreme and life-giving authority over the new creation, where life is eternal. But now he is head through the body, the church. The church, then, is the source of the restoration and fulfillment of creation in Christ. For verses 19 and 20, the fullness was a term used by the Gnostic heretics to describe all the spiritual beings and forces they saw as intervening between man and God. Of these, Jesus was seen as but one mediator in one level of existence with one force. Paul differs, saying Christ is himself the fullness. Jesus is everything, God in all fullness, and in his human nature, resurrected and ascended, he is the created and glorified head of all creation. Jesus Christ ends the alienation between God and creation, bringing creation as a sacrament into a living union with God. For verse 22, the body of his flesh is the mortal, in other words, capable of dying, humanity of Christ before his resurrection. The heretics' angels cannot save us because they have not become one of us. We cannot be saved unless we become one with Christ by being united with him in his death. Through his death, we die with him. The Gospel reading is from the book of Luke, chapter 11, verses 42 through 46. But woe to you Pharisees, for you tithe mint and rue and all manner of herbs, and pass by justice and the love of God. These you ought to have done without leaving the others undone. Woe to you Pharisees, for you love the best seats in the synagogues and greetings in the marketplaces. Woe to you, scribes and Pharisees, hypocrites, for you are like graves which are not seen, and the men who walk over them are not aware of them. Then one of the lawyers answered and said to him, Teacher, by saying these things you reproach us also. And he said, Woe to you also, lawyers, for you load men with burdens hard to bear, and you yourselves do not touch the burdens with one of your fingers. Pretty scathing reading there today. Pretty short and to the point. And much to that same token, there isn't any footnotes for the Orthodox Study Bible. Well, there is, so let's see here. So there is a footnote for verses 39 through 52, which is very encompassing. It starts before and then goes quite a bit past what our reading was today. So feel free to read 39 through 52 in your own apps or Bibles. But the footnote for that, verses 39 through 52, it just says to see the footnotes at Matthew chapter 23, verses 13 through 24. Woe is a term indicating complete and devastating destruction. As seen in chapter 6, verses 24 through 26. And it says to see Isaiah chapter 5, verses 18 through 24. And Revelation chapter 12, verse 12. Well, that is going to wrap up today's readings, everybody. I hope you all have a blessed Wednesday, fast day, of course. And please keep me, a sinner, in your prayers. Thank you.